Some words do not disappear with time. They stay buried inside your chest, repeating themselves in the quiet moments, refusing to let you forget. They echo when the room is empty, when the lights are off, when sleep refuses to come. You should know your place. Those words were spoken to me on the happiest day of my son's life, and they shattered mine. They did not just hurt me. They rewrote everything I believed about love, sacrifice, and family. My name is Evelyn Carter. I am 61 years old, and this is the story I stayed silent about until silence itself became heavier than the truth. I was sitting in the second row at my son Daniel's wedding reception, my hands folded over my purse, smiling like a woman who still believed love would protect her. The hall was bright with chandeliers, soft music floated through the air, and guests laughed as glasses clinked together, unaware that a life was about to quietly fall apart. I watched my son at the head table, tall and handsome in his suit, and my heart swelled with pride and memory. I had raised him alone after his father walked away when Daniel was 7, leaving behind nothing but questions and unpaid promises. I worked long hours, stitched clothes late into the night, skipped meals so he could eat well, and swallowed my exhaustion with a smile. I taught myself to be strong, because no one else was coming to save us. That day was supposed to be proof that every success had meaning. Then it happened. Daniel's new mother-in-law, Margaret Whitmore, stood up slowly, lifting her glass. The room grew quiet, the kind of silence that warns you something sharp is coming. She looked directly at me, not with anger or surprise, but with calm intention, as if she had rehearsed this moment in her mirror many times. In a clear, steady voice, she said, "Some people should be grateful just to be invited, not seated." A few people laughed nervously. Others lowered their eyes, choosing comfort over courage. My chest tightened, as if the air had been pulled from the room. I turned to look at my son, my only child. The boy whose school lunches I packed with handwritten notes. The boy who once told me I was his hero, and that he would never let anyone hurt me. Daniel did not stand. He did not speak. He simply looked down at his plate and said nothing. That silence cut deeper than any insult, because it told me I was alone in a room full of people. I did not cry. I did not shout. I did not beg for respect. I stood up slowly, straightened my old blue dress, and walked toward the exit, alone. Every step felt like walking through water, heavy and slow. But I kept my head high, because dignity was the only thing they could not take from me. Outside, in the quiet parking lot, under cold white lights, I took out my phone and made one call. When the person answered, I said words I had been holding back for weeks. "Release the file." Then I ended the call, got into my car, and drove home without looking back, knowing that some doors close softly, but change everything forever. 3 years earlier, my life had been simple but full. I lived in a small apartment near the city bus line, where the walls had heard my prayers and my tears. I worked from home as a seamstress, hemming suits, repairing dresses, mending torn fabric, the same way I tried to mend broken situations. My hands were always tired, rough from years of work, but my heart was strong, because purpose gives strength where money cannot. Daniel grew up watching me work without complaint. "Mama," he used to say, "one day I'll take care of you." I believed him because he was kind, because he was grateful, because love had shaped him once. I did not know that success can sometimes erase memory. He studied hard, graduated college, and landed a good job in finance. I ironed his suits myself and watched him walk into offices I had never been allowed to enter, carrying dreams that were built on my sleepless nights. Then he met Charlotte. She was beautiful, soft-spoken, and born into wealth. And behind her stood her mother, Margaret, a woman polished by privilege and sharpened by control. The first time I met her, she looked at my shoes before she looked at my face. "Evelyn," she said, "Daniel has come so far." What she really meant was that he had come far from me. After that, I slowly began to disappear. Wedding plans were made without me. Family dinners happened without invitations. Phone calls became shorter, colder, more distant. Daniel stopped asking for my opinion, stopped sharing his worries, stopped needing my voice. When I suggested something simple for the wedding, Margaret smiled politely and said, "We're aiming for something more elevated." Daniel said nothing. In that moment, I understood a painful truth. He was not choosing them over me. He was choosing comfort over loyalty, silence over gratitude. Months before the wedding, something inside me whispered to be careful. Not fear, not anger, but instinct. I quietly hired a legal advisor, not out of revenge, but protection. I had handled paperwork, savings, and responsibilities my entire life. I knew how easily trust could be used against you. I gathered documents, saved emails, signed nothing, and asked questions no one thought I was smart enough to ask. I told myself I would never need them, but deep down, I knew love was no longer enough. 3 weeks after the wedding, Daniel called me crying. His voice shook as he said, "Mama, everything is gone." Margaret's family business was under investigation. Charlotte's trust fund had been frozen. Daniel's name was tied to contracts he had never read, promises he never understood, and deals he blindly trusted. The file I released was not revenge, it was truth. Documents that showed illegal dealings, forged signatures, and lies wrapped in luxury. I did not celebrate their fall. I did not feel joy. I felt sadness, because consequences always hurt more when they come too late. I only said, "I tried to protect you. You chose silence instead." Today, I live quietly again. Same apartment, same sewing machine, same worn hands, same dignity. Daniel visits sometimes, no longer confident, no longer proud, but awake. Margaret avoids my eyes because people who look down on others cannot handle eye contact when the ground shifts beneath them. And I have learned something I wish no mother ever had to learn. Sometimes the people you sacrifice everything for will choose comfort over loyalty. Sometimes your love will not be enough. Sometimes walking away is not weakness, but survival. If you have ever been hurt by someone you love deeply, remember this. Respect is not something you beg for. Loyalty is not something you remind people of. And silence is not the absence of strength. Silence is patience. And patience, when the time is right, always finds its voice. If this story touched you, share your experience in the comments. Your story matters. This is Wisdom Whisper Studio, where silence speaks, pain teaches, and truth always finds its way.